And here we go. Sparks of Madness, episode 3. Today I will be breaking down a song that I have called The Dark, and it is off the new EP that I just put out. It's on Bandcamp and will be on all digital streaming platforms very shortly. But Bandcamp put it up for free. Go ahead, download it if you want. I got them on SoundCloud and streaming near you very soon. So today, uh, I'll show you a couple of the little pieces that were used to assemble this musical piece. And let's go ahead and break it down. All right, so um, if you want, go ahead, check out the song first. Um, I'm just going to be going through little sections of it and soloing different instruments I'm using and just kind of give a feel of what each of them does. Because a lot of times I find, and it's probably a very common idea that layering. Go ahead and see what two different instruments sound like when they play the exact same thing. And sometimes, when you combine them both, you'll get a kind of best of both worlds out of what they bring. So I'm just gonna go ahead solo some stuff right now, and we'll just go ahead and listen to them by themselves. All right, so first one up, the orchestra complete. So let's start from the beginning. And then I have that combined. Another instance of the orchestra, a different setting. So when you hear them kind of one and the other, kind of adding different vibes, even though they're playing the exact same notes. So that's why I like using the orchestra complete. Is it's the same instruments, but within each one, you're gonna have different sections of the orchestra playing. Like this one, this hidden sanctuary setting has a harp, violin, another violin, horn, cello, and with this other one that I have loaded up, the setting's called Icy Lake. Got a sustained violin, a viola or a viola playing pizzicato. As you can see, this one even throws in a choir. So it's even though they're playing the exact same notes, they're kind of weaving in and out of each other, playing off of each other. So that's all. It's interesting when you just combine stuff and see where they fill in the gaps for each other. Behind that, another instance of the orchestra actually, and this time, this one is all choir. When you combine the three of them, so it's pretty cool. And so behind those, I have I got one called Audiomodern Atom, and I have that just playing really weird sound effects. So it's I'll put it up a little bit. And this is one of those experiments where it's like, what if I take another instrument, play the exact same thing as that would be a normal piece of music, and so one of the settings is called FX the Horror, and so you play the exact same thing underneath it. What's it gonna do? Make something really weird and grating sounding. So I just kind of have this. Sounds kind of weird, but you know, when you start mixing it with the full song, it just kind of rests in the background. And so you know, it's fun just to throw things that aren't meant to be on the forefront. And so that was a fun little piece to use. On this one right here, got Heavyocity damage. This one works with basically, you know, it has a couple different ways that you can use it, and one of them is just pretty much having the key, you hold down one key and it just triggers a loop. So on this one, you know, it just has fun little loops that it can go through. As you can see, the MIDI note is just one. It's not a rhythmic pattern, it's just something that's being held down. Now it's going to play the same part again, and then a little bit earlier in the song, it's got something like this. And so this one, you know, it's just under the Epic Organic Full setting. So if you look right here, you'll basically see this is the loop that it's going through, and there's, you know, as long as you hold the key, it's going to keep playing that loop. And so Heavyocity damage, it's a really easy plugin to add percussion, where it's not a bunch of notes that you're clicking in. It's just something you can hold that'll put a rhythmic bed behind your parts, and that's damage for you. You know, it has other individual keys where you can actually press each individual section, but you know, sometimes even just to lay quick ideas, if you can get something that just you hold down a note and it's playing something for you, awesome. But you know, sometimes that's just what going through the different virtual instruments you're doing is you find out how they work, and when you find out, you know, some of them are just the sounds, so you gotta program something into it, and some of them are trigger kind of sequences, and you just kind of, when you learn how to interweave them and use them both at the same time, you can really make your life easier. So that's Heavyocity damage on that part of the song. Let's go. I got Heavyocity Gravity doing some strange things. And right now I have okay, bending destruction. All right, so let's solo this and hear what Gravity is doing. I'm gonna sort of fast forward to the parts where it actually has something. So in this instance, it's gonna be just really strange background sounds. So play it in the context of the song. A little bit more subliminal. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it's, you know, okay, it's part of the music, but it's not something that's trying to be the forefront. It's trying to just fill in the gaps of transitioning into the next part. So with some of these instruments, it's really, sometimes you'll find you only use them in like little bits of the song to accentuate parts, and that's part of the beauty of just being able to arrange songs like this is, you know, you take your time with it, you figure out where it works best. We got kind of quiet there, so I just wanted to and you know, you don't really hear it, but it's there. And last, well, not last. Okay, so I got one part that I want to show that's a really cool part, and then another new, almost secret weapon that I just, it's fascinating when you can you utilize it in a song. So in the background, got some kind of a superior drummer orchestral percussion. So we got this one up, and let's put it over here. So just got these little pieces that it's playing in the background. I think it's just during a slower part when um, at this part in the song, damage doesn't have anything that it's doing. So I just have a little bit lighter percussion that is um, not a sequence. It's you know, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can find here in the Toontrack grooves library. But as opposed to holding down one note in damage, this one is actually just a series of parts. So it's hide in the background, and you'll see within the context of the song, it doesn't appear very often. But here we go. And pause. So in context of how that was working alongside the other parts, you here see damage going. And so you see right here at the transition, I'm gonna stop real quick. Solo this. And so, a lot of times it's fun when you mix multiple percussion. If you can do it seamlessly, it's really cool. So, just going from, the whole thing is you're trying not to lose the illusion of consistency. So, you feel the drums. If you're gonna go into a next part, if you can find something that's really similar, you place them at really similar volumes. If you can make it a seamless transition and not break the illusion, you got it. You get the point. It's obviously they're not exactly the same. This is a sample library as opposed to a sequence that's already been recorded. You can adjust the EQ and all that, but it's hiding behind instruments, and it's just something where similar volumes, similar enough sound, you're golden. And then last but not least, one of the fun parts to add in songs. This thing keeps going. Fire doesn't want to stop singing. That's why it's on mute. So this one right here, a very fun instrument. You can call it that, but so risers. The secret to transitioning between parts. When you have, for me, it's been the connecting glue for my ventures into more electronic and orchestral type music. So here is the one that I chose to use. I believe it's it should be this after midnight one. So this is all it's doing. And that's it. That's it. That's all it is doing. And as you can see, I probably don't need the whole length, but just visually, for me, it's easier to think of it as a 4-bar thing. And I just put it 2 bars before my next part starts. It's not aligned exactly because I left, I just shifted everything 1 beat off from the beginning. And don't listen to me. You'll figure out exactly where your spot will go because risers are different lengths. They hit at different speeds, and this is all about kind of subliminal sound experimenting. So what they are doing, I will solo this, and then I will solo the drum parts. Thank you for continuing to play. But just to give you an idea of how it's transitioning between parts. And so that's what it's doing when you hear them by alone, where you think, huh, that riser feels kind of distracting. But then when you start thinking of it in terms context of how the song works, you kind of work on in the subliminal level of it just builds the part into the next part. So a well timed riser, you'll feel it lead you into the next song, but it won't come out of nowhere, even though it does. So right there, because it was kind of working with the song, you had stuff going on around it, but it kind of snuck in there and was able to lead you into the next part. And that's all it really is. It's something that, if you find a good sounding one, you sprinkle it throughout the song, it'll help transition into the next parts because it won't feel like the next part is just coming out of nowhere. Here's the next one, as you can see right here, into the next drum part. So what I'm going to do right now, I just got, you just got to place them where they feel right. If you overdo them, they'll stick out like a sore thumb. So here's how it works within the percussion. So before I played the damage part into the superior drummer part. And do it again for a quick reference. So from that point, it's part into next part. So when you stick in something like a riser, it kind of eases that transition in so that it doesn't feel like it's an abrupt next part, next section, next section. So this is how it sounds with the riser. It doesn't feel like it's almost like it's something else to distract you. But because you got all the other layers on top of it happening, you have something else that's kind of covering up that. And then back to the next part. And so now, if you look over here, as the percussion keeps going, I have risers going from this part. Because this is a change right here, I want something to transition them, not just abruptly next part. But because this part is staying the same, I don't have a riser connecting these two. And so, it really is a subliminal thing. You want to have it thank you, damage. And so it's one of those things where you want to have it low enough to where it's not distracting, but just at that sweet spot where you feel it. You don't really need to hear it as long as it gets its point across and you feel that transition happening. You'll find that perfect spot for it. But risers, if you can find a cool, sometimes you can even just find wave files that are risers, sample packs. This is a virtual instrument that has a lot of different types of sounds. They'll have orchestra, kind of guitars, voices, and just a lot of other stuff that you can customize within the sample library. But even just finding wave files of risers, utilize them, you'll find the exact sweet spot of where it starts at the right point, and as soon as it gets to that transition, they'll coincide and you'll make transition magic. And that is the dark. Go check it out. Every Second Killing It, Bandcamp, streaming service near you. I am Eski. Catch you next time. Peace.